Hey, welcome back. My guest this segment is Judy Baker. She's the president and CEO of Argo Gold Inc, trading on the CSE under the symbol ARQ. Judy, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Judy, tell me about Argo Gold. What are your main projects? Where are you located?
Okay, Argo Gold was founded in the first quarter of 2016. It was the business plan of Delio Tortosa, Bill Kerr, and myself. We were focused on acquiring high-grade gold projects in Northwestern Ontario. Why? Bill Kerr has actually quite a bit of experience in the greenstone belts in Northwestern Ontario. He's got 40 years of exploration under his belt. And it was Bill's view that Northwestern Ontario had a lot of high-grade, long-term producing gold mines, but a significant lack of exploration, particularly in the last in the last 10 years. As you see, a lot of exploration in Timmins, Val-d'Or, Kirkland Lake, you know, in other parts of East and Central Canada, but not a lot going on in Northwestern Ontario, but a lot of good long-term producing assets.
Why is that? Why is there no less so?
I think it's a little more remote, a little more far. Like Red Lake's 450 kilometers, you know, northwest of Thunder Bay, right? So just a little farther, farther afield, and not as much access. So we started Delio Tortosa, again, 40 years experience, was the key gentleman in terms of identifying and shortlisting projects. The team agreed we had a list of projects that we were targeting. What was available initially was McVicker Lake, so we staked that project right out of the gates, and that's 30 kilometers northwest of the past-producing Golden Patricia mine, which was 600,000 ounces, produced 14 gram per ton gold in the 90s. So that was the first project, but the flagship asset of the company is the Wilco Gold Project. And we acquired the initial part of Wilco in November of 2016.
And so how much of it do you control right now?
All of Argo Gold's projects are 100% owned by Argo Gold and its shareholders.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So
and with NSRs?
There are some, yes. Okay. It's hard to do deals on gold projects without NSRs, but generally they're in the 2% range. With
gotta leave some upside for the prospector, right?
1% buybacks, yes.
Sure.
So that was kind of how the company was put together. In the spring of 2017, gold markets were still good. Argo Gold was able to raise about $800,000. We carried out exploration on all 8 100% owned projects in the summer of 2017. From the work we did, field work we did, Argo Gold determined core assets versus non-core. And Argo Gold's flagship asset, Wilco, was determined core. And by early August 2017, we had doubled our ground out there with another acquisition. Acquired more ground in February of 2018, and when online staking came, we doubled Argo Gold's ground position out there again. So now we have 14 square kilometers at Wilco.
Now, the thing you told me about this project that really got my attention was that you were 75 kilometers away from Great Bear Resource's recent discovery that has sent that company's stock into the stratosphere, and that you had the same geology in the same volcanics.
Yes. Okay. So what's interesting, when Chris Taylor of Great Bear gets up to talk about Dixie, he starts off in some of the presentations, we're in the wrong rocks, and the wrong rocks being the Confederation volcanics. They're 2.75 billion years old. They're the younger volcanics overlying the 2.9 billion year old Bomber volcanics, which host the Red Lake mines. And all the greenstone belts up there are known for their depth potential. So both Argo Gold's Wilco Project, Great Bear's Dixie Project are both in these, the high-grade gold mineralization known to date is both in the Confederation Volcanics as well. Both projects are proximal to the south boundary of the Uchi geologic subprovince. So you've got a major structure there that separate that both Great Bear's Dixie and Argo Gold's Wilco Project are proximal to. And then the third thing would be there's actually comparable historic drill results at relatively shallow depths. Great Bear's high-grade gold mineralization depths are showing about 150, 200 meters. Argo Gold more in the 100-meter range, but good high-grade gold mineralization, you know, in a known prolific gold-producing part of the world.
So what kind of drill results have you experienced?
Well, Argo Gold would have like probably multiple intercepts of a couple ounces over a couple meters.
Okay, so these are vein hosted?
Yeah, it's both Great Bear's Dixie, Argo Gold, Wilco. They're narrow vein, quartz vein systems. And so that's similar to whether it's the Red Lake mines or the small high-grade underground mines in the Wawa camp, right? And interestingly enough, like in some time historically, these have been type of assets have been out of favor, and people have wanted to go for low-grade, open pit,
bulk tonnage,
all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that these high-grade, narrow vein gold deposits have continued to produce for companies.
So I guess it's a different expertise.
And so, like, if you look at Wesdome's operated its Eagle with producing over 40,000 ounces a year for over 20 years. And now they've just, you know, in the last couple of years, they were discovering multiple zones at Eagle. You had Richmont Mines producing 50,000 ounces for 8 years. They got into Island Deep. They got into twice the grade, twice the width. They took their production from 50,000 ounces a year to 80,000 ounces a year without increasing mill capacity. And Richmont Mines was sold for $1 billion.
Yeah.
So there's value and being seen in these high-grade, narrow vein underground gold systems that have continued to produce for companies.
Sure.
So that's and I guess that's one of the reasons we actually was part of the business plan is we're seeing gold production in Canada go up. So.
Okay, so where are you at today? Are you about to start drilling again? Are you doing?
Yep, Argo Gold is permitted for. The plan is to start drilling early February at the flagship Wilco project. We have a 25-meter drill program planned.
25,000 meter.
25,000.
I was going to say 25
Sorry.
meters. Boy, you're going to hit a lot of gold with that.
25,000 meter exploration program planned.
Right.
We're just dealing with a river crossing permit, but we have our drill permits in place.
Cool. And so you anticipate drilling into the same structure, the Confederation Volcanics?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are the bomber volcanics in all this?
Well, that's the thing. They underlie, right?
So they could be deep. And with Red Lake, 80 bar the door if you hit that kind of mineralization.
Right. And like Argo Gold, like I think the best, one of I think there's 4 ounces per ton over 2 meters. And, you know, with that kind of gold mineralization, obviously there's good indication there's gold in the system.
Sure. So how much money have you got in the bank and what's the plan for raising more?
Argo Gold is in fundraising mode right now.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. So so basically looking at, it's $1 million in flow through and $500,000 hard.
$1 million flow through?
Yeah. And
it's the right time of year for raising flow through, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So from meetings we had, there's there's interest, even confirmed this week for over half that financing.
Oh, really? Well, I've got some people who would be interested in hearing about this, so we'll talk about that. So then the new program starting in 25,000 meters, that's not insignificant. I mean, that could be defining, really. That's enough for it to outline a deposit.
Sorry, 2,500 meters.
2,500 meters. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Well, that's still not insignificant. It's more than 25 meters.
Yes,
I was going to say, going to drill
It's
5
Friday.
holes of 5 meters deep.
It's Friday.
Super shallow. It is Friday.
So-
Okay, Great. Then so, and your other projects, you've got several cobalt projects in Ontario too.
Yeah, actually, before I go on to the cobalt, I just want to just put the significance of the gold projects in perspective. And that is that, so we talked about that these high-grade gold projects have continued to produce underground, narrow vein systems. The other component is Canada's actually become the 5th largest gold producer in the world, up from number 8 5 years ago. And this was some of the data I looked at with respect to embarking on this business plan. And the other, and the reason that is, one of the reasons that is I think mining companies want to have infrastructure in Western world countries, and the assets they have continued to produce for them. And I think that's because they can hire the best people want to live in Western world countries. And then of the Canadian gold production, Ontario is the largest producer with over a third of production. So it's been an increasing economic contributor for Canada.
Sure.
And Ontario is, so just to put that all in perspective. Now, the cobalt projects come in early May. The DRC and Glencore went to court over $7 billion in royalties, right? And Glencore's the only Western world producer in the DRC left, right? And so 90% of the cobalt's coming out of the Central African cobalt, the Central African copper belt,
Right,
okay, is
right.
where 90% of the cobalt's coming out of. But it's a growth market because of electric vehicles, electric power tools. So the whole battery market is driving a growth market, and you have, a place where there's an uncertainty of how much future supply based on politics. So therefore, I think for the first time you can maybe start to justify cobalt exploration in Western world countries.
Yeah.
And so that was what we said, okay, we think it's time to start picking up some cobalt projects here, and I just kind of want to see how the production of cobalt moves forward coming out of the Central African copper belt to supply the market. And I think that'll drive how much capital is available for exploration.
Sure.
And we have 3 great projects.
Okay. Great. All right, Judy, let's leave it there for now. We'll come back to you after you've started drilling in February and see how that's going. Thanks very much for joining me today.
Okay, cheers. Thank you.